Hello there. This is Joan Turner back for part two of Horn of Plenty. Okay. Yesterday, I don't know, I saw a light flicker. I don't know if it was the computer or the actual lights in the room, but we're back now, full steam ahead. And we kind of left off with all this stuff going on over here. And today we're going to put the finishing touches on this masterpiece. And this is November 22nd, 2021. And it's actually just like 3 days before Thanksgiving. So if you can actually get this done, what a wonderful Thanksgiving present for someone who is very awesome and special. I'm sure all of your family is awesome and special to you, but if you really like the way a picture comes out, you can get canvas prints made relatively. You can spend as much as you want on them, is the real answer. But you can have cards made up, and you can use those cards every year. Okay, just make sure you sign them and whatnot. So anyway, without further ado, because I'm hoping that it won't take too much longer here, let's go ahead and do the finishing touches on here. So I have a brand new hot cocoa going on here. So grab your hot cocoa kit and let us go to work. All right. And you should most likely be seeing this one right after another. So you guys are good. You guys are good. So we're working from the back forward here. And this is completely done. The pumpkin's completely done. Let's work on this zucchini. Seems the furthest thing back. There's also another stem of wheat here, which maybe we should put that in. Let's see. Let's see what we got here. This is why it takes so long to get everything. I'm like, oh yeah, let's put that in. Let's do this. Let's do that. So I'm going to take some of my darkest brown here and just kind of wet this and make your best guess, okay, about where this is going. But it would be nice to actually just kind of break up this area a little bit, okay? So I don't know if you can see that line right there. It's pretty sedate as far as lines go. See here? Let's see if we can get it a teensy bit darker. Mm, I made it so light I can't not see where it is. Oh, wait. I see it. Okay. Now, hopefully you can see it. It's right there, right? And now I'm going to put my brush in the white. Okay. And I'm just going to dab here. I'm going to dab along this stem line. Just like this. And I want you to know, I have a very young student who's also a relative, and she wanted to do this for Thanksgiving, to have it on their Thanksgiving table, which I thought was really quite awesome. Okay, that's it. I'm going to add a little brown, or maybe a little bit of this kind of mustardy. It's the yellow with the brown in it that we were using. So maybe let's put some of that in there. So she wanted to know if she could in fact get it done today. And I thought to myself, well, why the heck not? We did it. We almost completely finished it last night. So let's go ahead and try it. So I have to say, I did help her quite a bit with it because The little Dickens is only she's only 8 years old. But I'm telling you, I wish I had taken a picture of it to show you because she, and she did it in an hour and a half. Gotta love it. Okay, so I added a little bit of brown there. Okay, we're getting a lot of messages here. That's okay. We can handle it. All right, so I'm going to take a little bit of my mustard color and add some of that to this so that it's not, I mean, I want it to break up what's over there, but I don't want it to be so stark. Oh, I'm reading messages as I'm doing this. Okay, I'm going to behave myself now. Okay, so that is done. So we're going to go ahead and do this zucchini little guy over here. So we need some green, which I have my green out from yesterday. Okay, and I'm sure I put too much out there, but I'm just going to use let me see, small brush, and I'm going to take off what I dropped. Okay, so again, have your handouts handy because even though we want them, to be our own design and a little bit different, you still need them for some reference for colors and shapes and placement even. Okay, so I'm gonna put this right here where I can see it, and I'm going to pick up just a little bit of the green, and I'm going to do this little guy here. Right, I'm going to mix it with a little bit of yellow, I think, and that way I get it looks more the way I want it to, color-wise. Here, okay. See if you can see it. Okay, so we're getting there. So it is green and mustard yellow. Okay, and mustard yellow is just some yellow and brown in it. And you just add as much brown as you want until you get the color that you're hoping for. Okay, so I'm going to put a little bit of white. Okay, I'm picking up just a little bit of white here and putting it kind of at the top. So I actually would like to have, it actually has some design, well, not really design, but it looks like some stripes kind of going on over here. So I'm going to put them in. Ta-da. And there is a teensy bit of yellow going on in there as well. So let's put that in there. Okay. That might be a little bit more than a teensy weensy, but I'm going to drag it on out anyway because I like it. Liking it. Okay, so there is my zucchini, kids. My zucchini. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and do these grapes in here because these leaves are in front. Okay, so the zucchini is the furthest back, then the grapes, and then the leaves is actually a leaf down here. So I'm going to do some little stems of the grapes. So I want to clean off my brush and get some purple out. If you want to mix your own purple, red and blue, mix purple. And the background grapes are going to be a little bit darker than the foreground grapes. So you should have some brown out as well. And if you're mixing your own purple even better, you can change the shade any way your heart desires. Okay, paper towel. I'm going to clean off my brush because I'm going to continue to kind of use the smaller brush. And actually, whatever brush you're comfortable with is absolutely okay. All right, so let me show you what I have going on here. So these grapes are already kind of different colors. I'm going to add a little bit of, I'm going to take some purple, add a little bit of vermilion to it, and that's going to give me a different shade as well. I actually am liking that. I am going to have the vermilion down here as well. So I don't want to make them too close to the shade that these are going to be. So I do want to keep them purple. And what would be really cool is add a teensy bit of blue to your purple mixture. And if you're mixing your own purple with blue and red, you can, if you add a little bit more blue to the mix, you get a nice deep purple. Okay, so I just took a little bit of blue here, and I'm going to take a little bit of purple and dip into a little bit of blue. And what I end up with is a very bluish, purpley color, which is beauteous. I'm liking it. Okay, so don't leave any spaces. Okay, make sure your grapes and the background grapes should have a little bit of brown in them. Okay, so I'm really darkening that purple because in the back we want to see, we want to be able to tell the difference between the grapes in the back and the grapes in the front. Okay, so let's go ahead and do those background grapes. And they really do look very brownish purpley. Brownish purpley grapes. Okay, I did one down here all by itself so you could kind of get a feel for it. So those are the ones that are in the back. I'm going to put another one right here, I think. And take a look over here. The grapes are behind the pear. So I'm going to make sure I get this in the right place over here. Okay. Now, let me see. Let me see where my leaf is here. There we go. Let's get a little white in here. That's great. A little bit. Okay, so now comes the magical part. Okay, I'm going to pick up just a little bit of white on my brush. And because this paint is still wet, see how, see what it's doing to the foreground grapes? It really, you can tell which grapes are in the back and which are in the front because the ones in front have a highlight on them. They're a different shade. Okay. So see those grapes? And actually, I think I'd like to put some, oops, I think I'd like to put some more in front of this leaf. those leaves are in the front, so we're going to do that. But we have so many leaves, I think I'm going to give this one a little cover. There we go. Actually, there's another leaf over here. So let's keep that behind. All right, so grapes. Okay, so I'm going to now dip into the purple. Okay, just dip it into the purple here. And then I'm going to just create a little bit of shadow in some of the foreground grapes only. So that would be the light ones only, all right, because the darker ones are in the back and we want them to kind of stay in the back. Okay, right. Okay, so let's I'm going to take just a little bit of this brownish purpley color and just shape my grapes here. This is, I actually feel like doing the finished work is the fun part. I mean, I like doing the whole piece, but it's like when I can sit here and put on little shaded areas and play around and so on and so forth, it just makes me happy. Just makes my little self happy. Oh, I did not mean to do that. Okay. What I what I did not mean to do is I got some yellow on my purple. So I'm gonna white it out just a little bit and put purple back in there. There we go. Okay. And after these dry out even a little bit more, you can put even more highlight on them if your heart desires. I'm definitely thinking ta-da here. Ta-da means it looks awesome. Let's let's go ahead and okay, and like I said, once they dry, even just a teensy bit more, you can put even more highlight on them if your heart desires. Okay, let's do, we're going to do these foreground leaves here, okay, because they are in front of, actually, I put it behind this, but these leaves are in the foreground. So I have this green leaf over here, but that's over this one. So it's going to have to go in afterwards. Okay. So let's have a little bit more cocoa here. Cleaning my brush, and I would like, I think, a nice bright yellow for these leaves. It's three here and three here. These are a little bit more orangey, which is okay. It's nice to have a little bit of a different value or color. Okay, for even though they look like they're the same type of leaf, it's nice to give them a different look. Okay, so I'm taking this yellow and I'm actually following the direction of the leaf, like where the veins are in here. Okay, so same thing here. Come down this way. towards the veins, towards the middle vein here. And if I actually leave the paint thick on here, it actually makes it look like, uh, it gives some texture to the picture. And it actually makes it look like the veins are there, which I like, I think. I think I'm going to leave them there. And maybe even add a little bit more. Okay, this one. Yeah. Now, when you look at this picture, we want to be able to see one leaf from the other, and we kind of already can, but I think I'm going to take a smaller brush and go into this mustardy yellow color a little bit. I got paint on my brush, like you there. Paint done, computer-wise, doing good. Okay, so some of this mustardy yellow, and I'm going to do a little bit of background work over here. Okay, so this mustardy yellow is just a different, it's just a different shade of yellow in here. Okay, so let me take a teensy bit of brown, okay, and just kind of drag it here a little bit so that one in front really, really shows up. Okay, I'm going to give this a little vein here, a little vein there. Can you see it? Can you see it? Okay, so drag some of these up a little bit. These make awesome, awesome gifts. Okay, so those are my leaves. They look pretty cool. These leaves over here, I'm going to add a little bit of orange to this brownish yellow or mustardy color yellow. So I'm going to take a little bit of my vermilion and add it to there, a little bit of yellow, only because I think these leaves should have a different feel to them. Okay, can you see that okay? So I'm going to add a bit more here. And kind of do the same thing with them. After I put the color on them, I'm going to go ahead and make a little bit of shadow on here where the ones that are in the back are kind of hanging out. Okay, it's kind of a big leaf here. There it goes. There it goes. Okay, and let's do one more over here. All right, and then same thing over here. Let's add some yellow for highlight. Let's got a little bit on our little guy over there. So let's fix it. Okay. So I want these to be the same type of leaves as these, but I want there to be a difference in value. So going into my yellow, drawing my midline for the vein work, right? And again, keeping this relatively thick actually gives it quite a bit of texture, which I have to say I'm liking. Another little guy back here. Okay, same treatment. Let's give him a little bit of vein work. What do you think? I think we're doing just awesome here. Just awesome. Let's going to clean some of the paint off my brush and give this guy a little bit more in the texture department. There we go. There we go. Dipping into my brown now, and I didn't clean off my brush, just dipping into that brown a little bit and putting it up against this leaf because I want to be able to see where one leaf begins and the other one ends. So I'm going to make this just a little bit darker here. Okay. Can you see that shading work? Just a little, just a tad. Okay. So let's do this leaf over here while we're in that color scheme. Okay. So this is another goldish colored leaf. So I'm picking up my mustard yellow and my bright yellow. And I'm doing some color work here. Okay. So a little bit of color work there. And I really would like it to be kind of goldy. So I'm going to pick up a little bit of red in here. A little bit of bright yellow. Liking it, liking it. Okay, I'm going to take the back side of my brush and make some veins in here just to have something a little bit different than the others. Okay, so just got the back of my brush. Just made a couple of little veins. Yeah. Okay, so let us go ahead and do this guy down here as well. And this is behind the apple. So we're going to go ahead and do our gold. It's kind of, it's a mustard yellow color, but it kind of reminiscent of like a federal gold color. So I'm using the labels interchangeably, which maybe is not a good idea, I'm not sure. Okay. So here's this leaf. Let's go ahead, add some red there. Okay, so bear in mind, this is This is a design piece. Okay. I'm going to take another paper towel because the last one I dropped on the floor. And the pear is behind our apple. So let's go ahead and do the pear. Before we do that, we have a leaf back here that is green. So let us do that. Dipping in a green. Okay. And the reason that I added more leaves back here is because um, I had a lot of space here. They actually, in this source document, put just green paint back there, which is fine. That's okay too. But I thought, we have so much going on the other side. It would be a great idea to go ahead and carry the subject matter this away. So I'm actually just using green and yellow. Okay, I'm going to mix some uh, brown in with my green and yellow. And the only reason I'm doing that is I want to make this leaf a little bit darker because don't forget my pear is over there and I wanted to have a different value of green. And again, I'm using a lot of paint here so that I have a lot of texture. Okay. Now, maybe I can go ahead and do my pear. I have been wanting to do this guy forever. Okay. So that's, and this pear is in front of our grapes. Okay. So I'm taking some green and some yellow and making a nice bright green because I want it to be a different green than my leaf certainly because we want to be able to see one from the other. I'm going to move this towards me a little bit. I promise I'll move it back. Painting on a slant. I'm getting relatively decent at it. Okay. So I have half of it painted. So I'm going to take just the yellow now and do the other side. And I still have green on my brush. So that's going to give this side a different look. And it is behind our apple. So take a look at you. Let me take a look at you, sweetie. There you go. Okay. So see how he has and it definitely seems like a him. Don't ask me why. But this pear is a he. Okay, I'm gonna go in with a light, even more bright yellow here. Okay, and now if you really look at this handout, there's a little bit of a mustardy yellow color down here, which I kind of like. So remember this mustardy yellow is just brown and some yellow. I'm gonna put it right in here. Let's go a little bit of highlight right there. This little mustardy area here and up into our green. Okay, light pressure on the brush at this point, and then a little bit on the other side. Cleaning off my brush, and then just kind of blending this side in a little bit. All right, the dark green that we mixed for this leaf looks really good around the edge of this pear. It gives it a 3D look, which we like. Okay, so there's our pear. Yay. Okay, we have some green grapes over here. And I'm thinking green grapes, green leaf, and green pear. I'm thinking maybe let's make them purple. Okay, so I am going to make those green grapes purple. And the reason that I chose purple over the red grapes is because we actually have a lot of red grapes. So let's bring the purple over here. Okay, same thing, circles. Okay. And this grape color wants to be purple, I was going to say grape, with brown in it because this is the background. Okay, so we want these grapes to be darker because they're background grapes. And our grapes are behind our apple. Yeah. Okay. So what I have here is just some dark bubbly area. Okay. So now I'm going to take a little bit of purple, add a little bit of white to it. Okay. And then I'm going to do foreground grapes. Those are the grapes that are in the middle, in the foreground. So the darker grapes are going to be in the back and the lighter grapes are going to be in the foreground, closer to you. Okay, right, can you see those a bit? So I'm going to put it back down because it's a little easier to paint it that way. Ta-da! And liking that. Okay. And these grapes over here are actually dry enough. We can play around a little bit more with them if we want to, if we so desire. Okay. Here a little bit more light. Yes. There we go. Ta-da! I'm so excited. What do you think? Yay. Okay. So I'm looking at this with great joy and happiness because I painted my table. That's okay. We're going to work on this back here, this leaf back here. Then we're going to work on our grapes because I'm looking at the apple and it looks like it's actually in front of the grapes. Okay, so let's do this leaf in here first. Clean in the brush. And again, I think it's probably an okay or good idea to actually keep the green in here because we have enough diversity of color here. Okay. Gonna be careful around my grapes. Gonna bring this a teensy bit closer. Okay, going around my grapes here. This little guy could have been done first, certainly. Okay, and for him, I am going to take the yellow. Okay, now we have a lot of yellow up here, so we don't want any strong yellows here, but we do want to lighten this up just a tad. Actually, excuse me, going to dip into the white just slightly here, just to change this up a little bit. There we go. All right. Okay, so now clean off your brush. Take your green, add some brown to your green so that you get a nice rich color. I call these earthy greens. Okay, give us a V work. Yeah. Thought I would put a little dark green on my pear. You know, that's the thing. You're working away, something else catches your eye, and you go, "Oh yeah, okay, that would be good." Okay. And I'm gonna do the same thing over here. Get some different values in there. Darker, darker down here. The more contrast I put in it, the more I like it. Okay, so that's where we are with that green leaf right there. Let's go and do our red grapes. And they're actually almost a purpley red. Um, they're actually a very beautiful color. Let me see. Did we decide the apple was in front? We did. Okay. So I am going to take my brilliant red, yeah, like this, and move some over here. And I am going to take some purple and add it right into there. I'm going to take more purple and add it right into there. Okay, so I'm getting a really awesome color. Okay, and again, we're just I'm going to add some brown to this, just because I want it again to be a background kind of a red. Oh, very nice. Okay, I like it. Okay, so again, because these are background, I want them to be a little bit darker. This is a great color. Okay, and these grapes are behind our apple. Oops, these guys down here are actually nuts. And the only reason I realize it's because they have little points on them, the acorns. Cool. Let's put some right in the front here. So I'm actually just making these circles. Okay, and again, it's pretty dark back here. Okay, I have a little bit of white showing there. So let's go ahead and cover it. We have some here. Okay, remember this is the finish work. Okay, so before it might have been okay for it to show a little bit here and there, but now we're finishing with finishing this baby. Okay, so now I have these grapes. Ta-da. And now we're going to put in some of the highlights, right? So again, let's clean off our brush. And I'm going to dip just a tad into the white. And the grapes that I want to appear to be in front, I'm going to go ahead and make them have a little bit highlight. Right? And the background grapes are going to stay in the background. Okay, so just the ones you want to kind of be moving forward here, closest to the viewer. Just a teensy bit of white here. Makes this a little bit more opaque, gives it a little bit more volume. And again, once these guys dry a little bit, if you decide you want to put even more on there, acrylic paints dry relatively fast. Can you begin to really see that? Gonna put that one in the front, this one, this one, this little guy. This one too. Okay, so let's get a little color in there. All right, so those are my grapes. I'm going to take a little bit of my dark purple and bring some of my color back in where I feel it might have too much highlight. Okay. Okay, so let's go ahead get some of these back in. All right, so if you feel like you have too much white showing, and on some of these I did feel that way, just go back in and put some more color on them. Okay, all right. So when you think about, gee, I really like my picture, except, all right, so if there's an except in there, it's like, okay, I like it, but, these grapes don't look individual enough. So the first thing that should come to your mind is contrast. So that being the case, I'm going to take my smallest brush, ta-da, and a little bit of dark brown and a little bit of purple. Now I created a darkish brownish purplish color, right? And now I can go ahead and put in some nice contrast colors. And of course, the darker I make it, the more you can tell them apart. Okay, and even after the tutorial is done, if you decide, you look at it and you go, it looks nice, but okay, that but, fix it. Add, if you think it's too dark, add a little light to it. If you think it's too light, add a little dark to it. You are the creator. You knew I was going to say that, right? Okay. So some of them you might want to put a little bit more highlight on. Some of them might need a little bit more color. Even the background ones for grapes can have a little bit of light on them where the light's hitting them. So, and if you want to, like I said, this is pretty much a design piece. If you're really, really wanting to see something really, really realistic, like you can't tell if it's a photograph or if it's a real painting, I I suggest that you get on GHAA.art website and do a search on Debbie Shirley. She makes the best fruits and vegetables in the. Honest to God, she's the best. Just look her up, and you will see that she did a painting of some strawberries in a basket. And honest to God, you could see the little seeds in them. You could see the little indentations in the fruit. Absolutely amazing. You want to see some really realistic looking art? Debbie Shirley is your girl. Okay, she is also the one who is putting these these tutorials up on the GHA website. So once again, I just want to remind everyone that behind here, um, that I'm doing this apple. Hold that thought. The Drake Council on Aging, okay, is sponsoring these tutorials, and the Drake Cultural Council is making them possible, financially making them possible, and Friends of the Drake Elderly. So we're getting lots and lots of support from them. And one of the very cool things about Drake It, let me make sure my apple is straight here, is that they allow us to share. How cool are they? which if you met the people there, you wouldn't be surprised at all, actually. So, so Debbie Shirley is the one who is posting them on the GHAA website so that other artists can see them and people who are, hopefully no one's stuck at home anymore now, but um, there were. Okay, and some of us are still at home. And what I've come to realize is that a lot of people were at home even kind of before the pandemic, um, for various reasons. Mixing red and brown in here for various reasons, health related health related reasons. So so I'm impressed that Drake it is allowing us to continue this program. So Ron of DATV puts them on Drake It TV. My friend uh, Tara, Tara, oh, I can't say her last name. Garden. She actually puts them up on BATV and even edits them. She makes me look good. She'll change the lighting around a little bit and all kinds of good stuff in an attempt to make me look good. Okay, so that brownish red is going right around the edge of this apple because we want our apple to really look round. Okay, and then the bright red's going in the middle here. So, so the cool folk at Drake It allow us to share, and it's, they really, like I said, if you met them, you wouldn't be surprised at all, probably. Um, I am so lucky. I actually magnetized to myself the very best people, um, the people at GHAA, very kind, very loving. Our president there, she knocks herself out for us and for programming during this pandemic. I can't even tell you how much work she's done. Can't put it into words. Okay, so this apple is coming out a little pink here. So once it dries a little bit, we'll go ahead and put a little bit more white on there. But for now, let's just let's just do that. That looks so cool. I'm liking that apple. Okay, I'm going to take the dark brown and put it right here where the stem goes, because that's going to give me a depression in the apple. And I don't mean that I'm going to have a depressed apple. I mean I'm going to have a depression in the apple. So that I can put my stem in there. Okay? And the stem is going to be, I'm going to just do, I'm going to pick up a little bit of this brown in through here, and I'm going to put the stem in like that. Okay, let's see what I have here. That's better. This table is beginning to squeak. The table is actually, it's about 30 years old. When I first moved into my home, my home studio, it was in Bradford. And when I first moved here, this studio not only didn't have any ceiling lights, there was no art table. I'm like, hey, how can my studio not have an art table? So I was very specific about what I wanted. I wanted a big 8-foot table because I knew that I would everyone. Little did I know we would be using even more than that. That's okay. Making this brown stem even browner. At least I thought I was. So, to make a long story short, the table is quite old. It's been adjusted a number of times. I'm going to put a little bit of white. Oh, I meant to put it underneath the stem. Okay, so let's do this. Okay. So I apologize for the squeak, I guess is the story here. All right, so let's do this. And I'm going to take some of this brown. I want this stem to be darker. Let's let that dry out for a few minutes. Let's go do our nuts. Absolutely. Okay, mustardy yellow color, mixing it with some brown here and making some nuts. Now, the nuts are in front of our apple and in front of our grapes. So paint them in front. Okay, take a look at those little nuts. Right, so I want them to be darker. Let me see. Can I mix it to make darker? Okay, I'm not happy at my brown, so I'm mixing red and green because red and green makes brown. Okay, so let's see if that works. Aha! All right, so I want these to be brown, especially around the tops here. Okay, so I'm using a small brush to do this, but I think I'll go ahead and go even smaller. Okay, so I don't know if I can get in close enough here for you to see. Right, so I'm using this mustard color and blending it in with the brown that I have here. And I'm holding this at a very weird angle. Okay. I'm going to make a darker brown. And go right around here. We want to have a little bit of a shadow here like this. And here as well. Okay. So I actually want this part of the shell to be darker. And I made this darker with the red and green. Okay. So now I want to take this mustardy color here a little bit. And I want to put just a little bit of light in the dark shell tops of these acorns. Okay. And they do have little stems on them. And the stems are on the light side. So let's make them light. Okay, two little acorns. Let's get a clean paper towel here. And my thought here was to change the value of this color over here so that it's not the same color as my acorn. I'm thinking that's a good deal. Okay, gonna switch to smaller brush. I'm going to get some of my lighter yellow, just kind of lighten this guy a little bit more. So the reason that I'm doing this is I thought that the color of the leaf was a little too close to the color of my acorn, and I don't want them to vie for attention. So we just change the color just a tad. Okay. So I am looking at this baby, and she is a looking good. Let's do just a little here. Just a little bit of my love for you. Okay. Ah, all right. So, think, what do you think? What do you think? Okay. So this is our finished product, and this is our source document. Okay, like I said, I like the colors to be a little bit more vivid, so they certainly are. I'm looking at the screen backwards, so let's put it that way. And this guy this way. Ta-da! Okay, so see the difference in the color is ours is a lot more vivid, and I absolutely am liking it like that. So I'm going to leave it that way. So when this is nice and dry, I'm thinking go ahead and you can sign it actually before it's nice and dry. That would be okay. Adding a little bit of white to my nuts while I'm talking to you. Um, you can add a little bit, you can go ahead and sign it. Okay, and I usually sign them bottom right, unless that's not a feasible thing to do. Oh, yeah, see, I liking the white on the nuts. Okay. So usually I sign them bottom right. Okay, you can sign them, of course, wherever your heart desires. I would suggest that you do not make your signature humongous. I have a student, and she's a young student, and she's very proud of her work, which is extremely cool. See, this is dry enough for me to actually get a little more highlight going on here. She's very proud of her work, and I'm glad that she is. She makes her signature quite large on her pictures, and she's like I said, she's a young girl. So the judge who was judging the pictures was very nice, very nice. and actually awarded her a ribbon for her beautiful, beautiful work and said, that she would caution against using such a big signature because it does take away from the picture. Your signature should not take away from the picture, right? And so if you make it really huge, big, let me see. Yeah, kind of like in there. Okay. So if you make a really huge, big, humongous uh, signature, then that's what catches the viewer's eye rather than what you want. I mean, you certainly want to have your work acknowledged, absolutely, but you don't want it to actually ruin the subject matter. Okay, all right. I'm thinking I better say goodbye, or else I'm going to just keep going and going and going here. The other thing I would like to say to you is, um, after it's dry, if it's, let it dry like overnight, like really, really dry. And then you could put some Mod Podge on it or spray varnish. If you, in fact, do not have a spray varnish, it really works well. It's cheap hairspray. And and I bought some at the dollar store. And the first time I used it on my hair, you could like knock on my head. It was like a piece of wood. And so I was like, okay, I don't think I'm going to put this on my hair anymore. And I was getting ready to kind of throw it out. So I'm looking at the it was a really pretty canister. It was pink, and that's why I bought it because it was pink and it's only $1. And it said lacquer on it or hair varnish or something like that. And it really was. Long story short, I didn't throw it out. I brought it down here in the art room, and you can spray it on your pictures to help preserve some of the colors. Okay, so totally up to you. Mod Podge is relatively inexpensive and does protect it. Plus, they have Mod Podge that is matte, and they also have Mod Podge, which is a gloss. And because for some people, too much bling is never enough. I buy the gloss, and so I get so it really brings out the shine in the picture and on your apple, on your fruits and whatnot. Okay. So again, a big, huge thank you, Bethany, and everyone else at the Drake Council on Aging. Um, Drake Cultural Council, Friends of Drake Elderly, Debbie Shirley at GHAA, Tara at DATV, Ron at DATV, and all the zillions of people, well, seems like zillions, that are doing all this work to bring all these to you. Okay, so thank you. Have a very good evening. And as always, my friends, be legendary. All right. Bye for now. We have more coming up, more tutorials. So get your packet relatively soon. We only have 50. So obviously you can use your own art supplies if you have them. We are continuing weekly art at a church, the First Church something. It's on 10 Arlington Street in Drake, and so they're allowing us to use their beautiful room there to continue our art and hopefully do some more fun and paints. So stay in touch. Jonissa, Joanisa at Comcast.net. You can get a hold of me that way. You can call me 978-807-7608. How did you get that color? Whatever you need, give me a ringy dingy and I hopefully, if I can't answer, I'll find out who can. Okay? Have an awesome day. Be legendary. And until we meet again, good night, my friend.